Yalan Jazanu Gange Lodru Jeni Jenta Nidar Nandar Abzal Chini Dengu Jijin Zich Niji Toga Lebam Kanda Sebe Zara Mari Mundon Donga Gezere Dozo Gonla Boje Darze Yela Joju Yande Leje Jandro Doze Mare Donga Nyugo Jinye Joze Raljenam Dene Daje Zaje Darze Yende Lezo Jalse Doego Joja Joda Joni Gendri Tale Monse Jan Yala Om Arabazanandi Seten Jeje Jeravasere Talu Demo Mumbaravsani Kadan Denje Jolo Dobai Lord Bod Nawa Zaldos Kanze Dawarande Bang Shunse Jewarande Nayam Kombo Jamyang Denini Keme Baryang Tongwarashu Lasso Tine Samjen Tamje Sanje Goban Rinpoche La Gopar Kyo Nyabe Chanju Samje Kolonge Saltambe Sambarshu Sambarsha Vucho De Chonju Kumrim Rete Yure.
Please engender pure motivation, that of bodhichitta or awakened mind, thinking that you're going to dedicate these studies for the sake of bringing all sentient beings to the state of awakening. The text we are studying here is a step-by-step guide to meditating on the Bodhisattva-Charyavatara.
Edapte Kazangi Trene Kale Malashua Yina Tanyeba Samba Semche Pandela Munjuk Ni Tambo Semche Pane Shindun Chir Yanda Zobe Chanjuk De Che Sumbe Shindun De Sanje Tubdo Je Samba Sonshadu Chetuta Da Semche Kazangon Mumana Gazo Semche Gore Semche Gore Sana Yanje Shute Yure Semche Dan Rodi Da De Sung Dudu Chedang Bombe Semche Dan Juba Semche Ni Yung Yure Bombe Semche De La Sung Duangula Kendun Chir Zogbe Chanju Dosan Losem Lotse Sem Nipa Chen Segre Chik De Shen Ningje Shendun La Megba Segan Chedang Sherab Je Zorjan La Megba Segan Lo Ni Ngo Yu Pare Ningje Shendun La Meg Sedu Ane Nga Zo korwa de la paljer kyawa lang gogo yo na phama la to gogo yo ta kyawa ne khana jena lang gogo ro lang dang ko ngalje joje kongje choje sna ken na ma shi yung yo ta ngalje dang kongje yina phama ma to ba kya yo ma ta den phama la to yung jo sna ne ngazo roar do semje re tsi kya yung jo so so je phama khaso chedu sna se tang tanga se sna se tanga tsi te be kya yo ma re semeba 장매바 제사를 사마 소소 파마 짱짱 차대로 근데 파마 제베 섬진 된주 나스다 섬진 제조스도 나스 사마 책바로 가서 사마 가리 되고도 네다 용도 대화 되고 요래 면도버데 가리를 놔두잖아 동알래 다 대위 규 가리를 동알리 규 가리를 도 삼로 땅을 제가서 내가 재단을 되나 엔천줄로 돼요 나 대화 되고도 남네 아니 좁아져 버와 나 대화 두고도 남네 아니 준식으로 와 되는 메가와주 라소바당 다 되는 망보지 대화 제도 제거요래 대우규 노르송래 메가와 동al 도구요 말데 동al규 메가와주랑 제대로 와 제동원의 대우규디 셈둘야당 셈상마소야당 아니 녀몽바든 좀 매버서 보고요래 아주 녀몽바야 체로 당겨요래 뺄게요래 된두 대화 두고도 대우규 줍셰기면도 동al 메도장 동아리 교코나 당도랑네 아니 섬제 삼바당 르가지 이 자와 제단도 친조로네 내대요. 다 뒤로 선전된조 아니 사마드네 친조로베 람데마 유네 양다베 람 르데 다 섬들레제 탐마도 바 신메바라 섬들 보고요나 다 쳐주바 냐면 제고그래 교성 공중제 보고요. 대지 나랑기야 대체 신섬전 탐제야 다대 가르소를 냠는 제주네 은주스나면도 네 냠는 제주네다 탑제 타야텔라 닝제 신들라 미바스거든 근데 셔럽 조장 미바데 된데 예섬냐 상제 고방고에도 소소 알상 제고로와 소소 상제 고방마도 소소 타르빌 남데 야부 줌마셰 줌단데 존다 줌밤바셰 셴라 람짱가르잖아 근데 대야서 갑도 야보랑 캬마데 덴덴요 말에 and sozo sangyeba and any hena lamdo ragure cheza ngarang samjan thamje chodo sanji go bo top jigi in nemlo de in karsore sharab ye zojang me basir ta de kapsu ngazo chaji thongba ina yang man konjo somlo chobo pulza wajala tene ne chö ya bu drya chadu da samjan thamje sanje go bang ko chodo in nyamba de kulong ro tambo lo ju chöma mangbo sogore chöma tene kombaje kyap drobe kabla ya ten samjan thamje chodo in 대ብ지 로바 이나한다 아니 류자세바 이나한다 내가 가르치는 상마 내장냐 이제 소연네 담부 쮸 담부 상마 쮸마로 줘라 쮸마로 와다 칼레 되는 거 냠용 때문에 쮸마 많이 바랑신 아니 장주섬디 그러다는 거 장애 연발에
So let's look at the text where we have left off yesterday. We covered the first of the four sections that is of the practitioner, the person who is the support. And now we will continue with the second section, which is the attitude with which one practices. And here the text reads, secondly, the intention of bodhicitta has two aspects, aspiration and action. Aspiration, regarding the first of these, it is said, arousing bodhicitta is, for the sake of others, longing to attain complete enlightenment. In other words, it is the intention of wishing to attain complete enlightenment for the sake of others. So the attitude with which one engages in the path is known as bodhicitta. And we have already heard a bit in the previous classes that we all need to engender bodhicitta, that we all need to generate this mind of awakening. But what is it, right? What is it? What is this intent, right? To form or resolve bodhicitta? Well, first of all, the text states that there are two types of bodhicitta. One is the resolve of aspiration, so the bodhicitta of aspiration. And another one, as it says here, is the action. It's the resolve of application. It's already bodhicitta of engagement. So first, what is bodhicitta in general? So there is a definition here that comes as the verse, and it said that bodhicitta is a wish to attain enlightenment for the sake of others, in order to benefit others, for the benefit of others. So it's a desire for complete and perfect enlightenment for the sake of others. And so from this definition, we can see that bodhicitta, the mind of awakening, has two aspects, right? One aspect is that of compassion that focuses on the welfare of others. So one is the compassion that focuses, I will repeat, on the benefit of others. And another aspect is that of wisdom that focuses on the attainment of awakening or enlightenment, as it is said here. And so what is the aspect of compassion? And why do we need that? Well, since beginningless time, we have been taking birth in samsara, in the cyclic existence. And in most of our births, we had to rely on parents in order to come to existence. Well, why in most of the births? Well, because in the Buddha Dharma, we speak of the four modes of taking birth. One is being born from an egg, like some beings being born from an egg, others from a womb, others born from heat and moisture, and others born miraculously. And among these four modes of taking a birth, those beings that are born from an egg or from a womb rely on parents. Otherwise, they can't come to exist. And so in countless lifetimes, we have taken birth of having parents. And in this way, we can say that we have countless parents. We have had countless parents, because we have taken countless births in samsara and we have had countless parents. And in this way, we say that all the beings that we encounter that are existent in the world these days, they are related to us, right? We have been related in the previous lives. If we think about that, we all are connected. And now let's think about beings. What do they want? Well, all of us, we all share the same predicament. We all genuinely want to be happy and we want to be free of suffering. So all beings are like that. And yet, if we think about the causes of genuine happiness, the actions that are needed to be taken in order to achieve happiness, and then think about the result, or what's happening actually, we can see that things are at odds. Like the wish is there, and yet what we do, it's at war with our wish. We do not accomplish genuine causes for our own happiness, as all sentient beings are like that. We still engage in non-virtuous acts. We steal, we lie, we cheat, right? We have all sorts of other disturbing negative states of mind and actions that harm others. How do then sentient beings who still engage in so much non-virtue expect to achieve genuine happiness? Genuine happiness comes from pure heart, pure mind. It comes from the process of making ourselves more gentle, more kind. It comes from taming our negative states of mind, from purifying them, right? From making our disturbing emotions shrink. So that's the genuine causes for happiness. And yet, if we look around and think, do the beings actually engage in the causes for their own happiness? We see that, unfortunately, even though they wish for happiness, yet they do not engage in those actions of purifying their minds, taming their minds. On the contrary, most beings, their disturbing emotions, their afflictions just increase and proliferate. So unfortunately, in this case, we see that the wish and the actions of beings are at war. They are in contradiction. And so seeing that, we feel compassion for beings because, well, if we think about that, they have been our parents. If we see our parents struggle, they wish to be happy, and yet they bring about their own suffering, right, on them, it saddens us. We think, well, if they just would work on themselves, work on their minds, train their minds, if they would just study, reflect, if they would just meditate, but yet that's not happening. So how can I help them? How can I make them study, reflect, meditate? Well, if I don't engage in those activities, that would be quite, kind of like a hypocrisy, right? For me to wish others to achieve happiness and yet myself not doing what it takes. And so I understand that I myself need first to engage in the path so that I can show this path to others. Otherwise, how would I be able to show others the path if I haven't trodden the path myself? So understand that if I myself work on myself, if I train myself, if I make myself gentle, kind, right? If I basically attain perfect state of enlightenment, unfold my potential to its fullest, then from that state, I can actually show the path to others. I can help and guide them, right? And so therefore, we form this resolve of bodhicitta, desire for complete perfect enlightenment, but for the sake of other beings, in order to benefit others, right? There's these two aspects of bodhicitta, and we incorporate that motivation throughout all our daily activities, not just like when we once a day form this resolve and then we are done. No, our minds are so thick, we need to train them constantly. And first, it doesn't come about naturally, this kind of genuine resolve, oh, may I benefit beings. It's not natural. So we need to train our minds, right? It's kind of like fake until you make it. And how do we do it? Well, when we drink tea, before making first sip, we make the dedication. May this, through this kind of action, may I offer this tea to the Buddhas and for that purify my mind. Or when we exercise, or when we read a book, when we walk, always we try to look inside our minds and see our motivation. Why am I going to do this? Why am I going to read? Why am I going to watch something? Why am I going to work out? And when we see our motivation, we adjust it, we transform it. Because at first it takes real effort to work on ourselves. Our motivation is not always this pure and benevolent naturally. So it takes some effort to look, check our motivation and change it throughout all our daily activities. And slowly, we will see how it becomes more and more natural for us to have the motivation of bodhicitta. It will become very natural for us. So,
dende la momba samje singire ane ta jugba samje de karisondo niba jugba ni jalu se je labja lobar thamja wa sungshado chedu tanada jalu se je labja de paro do chamba tro den zo cha gyure ne da parjin tro den zo lobela thamja che ne ngoson jugba ta semji ke tomba langsana mendo tomba thamja chebadi jugba samje chege yin namnen joba sam parju kasa parjin tubo den zonge namnen chege yin labati ta samji khelen damja cheba de jorwa tab joba samje ngoy de ta parjin tu namnen cheba da ara ni kasa war chemba inanda sultumi inanda soba inanda chonde samje sharab den zo ne mutune sozo namnen che de ge na joba samje men dirama da shimba ke yo mare anata joba samje yo sa chala ne member samje me ba da dang Mumba samje yube kapsu juba samje meba dende rang rebela na dende yomare. Ini karu sawara juba samje yona mumba samje nyamje yoba yin kare. Chidang konye kebar di kara chunju peja nang rang la. Ini pen nang azo dronjo je samba dang ngoy so drowa suruchi. Na drogo sare samlo tang yona di mumba samje yin. Ngoy so lam komba chemnen drogo yoba yina juba samje sigare. 제주다 조심be kabla ndondo ji sambada yorwa ngai teb de logi sambada yon sang logi yor log shimbe kabla teb log do lo de la sona 탭데 카점네 샤그라 마도 로그 마르와 자산 로 심베 갑라 양 로도 줄로 요래 제도 주베 섬제 가서 멤버 섬제 양 요래 멤버 섬제 요디 다 주바 섬제 예메 요래 메르선데 타주도 그 말에 데 덴덴랑 요 말에 멤버 직부 요라 주바 섬제 매바 용서도 다네 탭주 로고도 사시 간라 요 탭고 말로 샤샤나 어떤게 섬전 탐저 산제 고방 고버 제기인 대주도 최악부주 두부인 삼로데 여바체 다 고마마 섬제 차도로 와 근데 주바 섬제데 거 무슨 만주는 하거든 근데 영스 그래 이제 거기 캐버드 된다 로지 지기요래 맞아
And that definition that we have just seen pertains to the bodhicitta of aspiration, right? Because this is just a wish, right? It's aspiration. When we arouse bodhicitta and wish to attain enlightenment for the sake of others. What is then action? What is the bodhicitta of practical engagement? The text continues and it reads, the second aspect of action is the commitment to train in the practices of the bodhisattvas. So after, or maybe not necessarily after, but the second aspect here of bodhicitta is that of practical engagement. And it's a commitment that we make a commitment to train in the practices, in the trainings of bodhisattvas. What are the trainings? Well, the trainings of the bodhisattvas are all subsumed within the 6 paramitas. Paramita, Sanskrit term, means transcendental perfection. And first we make a promise to engage in them, and then we actually engage in them, right? So what are the 6 paramitas? It's the first one of generosity. Then we have the paramita of discipline, we can say, or ethics, some, translated either way, ethical discipline. The third paramita is that of patience. The fourth one of diligence, or joyful perseverance. Then the fifth one is the paramita of meditative concentration. And lastly is the paramita of wisdom or insight. And so there is no other bodhicitta of action or practical engagement other than the 6 practices of being generous, keeping one's ethical discipline, developing patience, being enthusiastic and diligent in practice, meditating and developing one's wisdom. So one when engages in those activities for the sake of others, that's known as the bodhicitta of action. So the question that we might ask here is, why is it the case that when we have bodhicitta of aspiration, we absolutely necessarily have bodhicitta of action, and vice versa? When we have bodhicitta of action, do we necessarily have the bodhicitta of aspiration? Do they go basically hand to hand? Well, there's no certainty in that. But generally, we can say when one engages in bodhicitta of practical engagement, in those activities, right, of 6 paramitas, there is usually, right there, bodhicitta of aspiration. It's present. Well, actually, to give an example to illustrate what are these two, we can look at the root text of Bodhicaryavatara itself, where it says that the difference between bodhicitta of aspiration and action is just like the difference between wishing to go and then going on a journey, right? So the wish to go is bodhicitta of aspiration, and actually setting on a journey and walking towards somewhere, traveling, that's a bodhicitta of action. So when we have bodhicitta of action, we usually would have bodhicitta of aspiration, because just like when you are going somewhere, the wish to go is still with you, otherwise you would stop. Like when you want to read a book, let's say that's bodhicitta of aspiration, and then you actually start reading a book. And while reading a book, you probably still have that wish to read it. If you don't have, you probably will stop reading it. So when you engage in generosity, when you engage in patience and meditative concentration, etc., you do have that aspiration to achieve enlightenment, doing all of this to achieve enlightenment for the sake of others. But otherwise he wouldn't engage in all those activities to benefit others and to achieve enlightenment, right? But when you have only that wish, it's not really guaranteed that you will engage in practical activities and in trainings of the bodhisattvas. Sometimes we just have a wish, aspiration, and we leave it at that. You might develop a wish, may I bring all beings to enlightenment, and then not do anything about that, right? So it's possible that you have just aspiration, but not actually action. But usually when you have action, you do have aspiration together with that. Mm-hmm.
So, 답제 다고 대다고 semjede rangyula songro chawala lamale lena wasam karongge chokadar cha sangure chidada semjede changju sem bacha da ma cha de semjede tomba lang da ma lang tomba top da ma top la ra le ge yorwa ene ta changju sem lam nyam so lang do yu ene semjede tomba lang do yu na ne tomba lang da de ri min do mangbo yo sare tinanada kasilama nalana umma pe loji semje tomba langda chana semjamba loji lone semje tomba langda ni yong yore ta umme loji langda de peje tinara she yong re ta na kala ke mendo na semjambe loji tomba langda de ana kasa gro sanje chumden de ne phaba chamba ne o togme ne de ne rembe tarchabe ni gyoba rodan de la nesem loji semje tomba langda se yore de tandayang hyuk de yore ta di tomba lang yong de thongon la de gaso gro so nam sa do da semje tomba lang sa ji hi ya yin mi ni mi go re lüden de mi tsam ma se koi tomba mo la kyab do tomba do da ya na so da ritun thang je ga ba ji go re wa tender la ani so nam ma bo je sa 근데 저서나 mambosan 알령을 몸배 섬제대 랑 로직당 제가 야나니 야나숨 버도 아니 몸배 섬제는 냠는 야보체 되네 다 용사래 라카서래 등에 주버 섬제 냠는 줄랑 톱사래 되나 아니 신에 주버 섬제도 말랑 두래 어 된제 로솔데 네 제샤게 요래 섬잠을 로지 네 도말랑다 로솔 된데 로지래
Then the text continues, and it says, in order to adopt this kind of bodhicitta within our own mind streams, we can receive the vows from a teacher, in which case we should follow the procedure of the specific ritual, whether of the mind only or the middle way. So how does one become a bodhisattva? It's someone who had engendered bodhicitta. Well, that happens by taking a vow of bodhisattvas, vow of bodhicitta, right? So in order to embrace bodhicitta in this way, like what is explained above, one receives the vow from a master, from a teacher, if possible, and one is doing so with the rituals of either mind only school, that's Chitta Matra in Sanskrit, or the middle way school, the Madhyamika school. So the difference is such. The way one takes a vow according to the middle way school is explained in this text. So everything that will come below, it will be explained in accordance with the with the middle way or the Madhyamika school. So that's easy. What about the mind only? What is that? What is that tradition? Well, the tradition is that tradition of taking a bodhisattva vow according to mind only school is done according to lineage that comes from the Buddha to Buddha Maitreya, from Buddha Shakyamuni to Buddha Maitreya, from Buddha Maitreya to Asanga, master, lived in India and for 5th century, and from Asanga then it spread out, and this lineage still exists in the world, so it's still present. And there, according to that lineage, in order for one to take a bodhisattva vow, one absolutely has to be human. And before taking a vow, one absolutely has to have already a foundation of refuge vow or one of the 7 vows of individual liberation, like fully ordained monks or nuns or lay practitioner, but there's a set of 7 vows that one has to take, and one of the 7, and that would be a foundation for taking a bodhisattva vow. So that's a prerequisite according to the mind-only tradition. And then one, first of all, takes a vow of bodhicitta, of aspiration, alone, and practices only developing that aspiration for a year or 2 or 3, while accumulating merit. And then once one feels like, okay, I'm ready to take on the next step of taking a vow of bodhicitta, of action, one proceeds and takes that vow separately. So first one trains only in bodhicitta of aspiration, and then one afterwards takes a vow of bodhicitta of action. So that's how it's done according to that school.
Also, then the Uma Belogi Cuba de Sanya Jumden de Jidun Jambiang, Jambian, Pabun Paba Ludup, the Ludum de Rembe, Mulu Tarchimba, Tarba de Cuba Jungle, then the Chattere. Tadi Tamba de Tende Kazan, also Tajur Church Sang was in the Song Sawa. Tadi then Rab Anga Tangbo de Tajur Church Sang was a security. Te maimba meda mimba in la soba suyang digure inji mi in ko ba do da mi na ne kyabdu tomba shu semba sodur tomba rige kama toba yin sena de le kayo mare kyabdu tomba de ko yu yu ruwa ti tomba ji semje tomba ma to ngola ina mi in ko ba sodur ritun rang to ko ba tende ji ne ba kaya yo mare mi yana digure la ina digure lu chung na digure te tende kyabar sawa ni mi do.
As for the vow taking according to the middle way school, or the Madhyamika school, that lineage derives also from the Buddha. So both, of course, come from the Buddha, but the lineage unfolded differently. From the Buddha, it was passed down to Manjushri, the wisdom, and from Manjushri to Nagarjuna. And it's Nagarjuna who spread this tradition in this world. And according to the middle way school, the best support for the bodhisattva vow will be anyone who is endowed with the 18 freedoms and advantages, the ones that we have learned about yesterday. So it could be human, but not necessarily. Could be a god or a naga, anyone who has complete set of 18 freedoms and advantages. And again, for taking a bodhisattva vow, one does not need to have one of the 7 vows of individual liberation, being an ordained monk or novice monk or nun or lay practitioner. But refuge vow, that's important. Like bodhisattva vow is usually giving on the basis of having taken refuge vow. But again, it could be given to anyone, human or non-human alike.
So, then the Monjuk kon tomba kane langere samde de da wala kale mal lebudu. Te kale ta shuerwa. Deru tomba rani ye langu sulla jorgo ches mala te sozo langdan rojo sungdo. Reta lama langdan de rojo shueshana deksare. Wala lebe te garang charnayan degre. Ta tomba lama langu Monjuk tabju da lang segre. Tanda kumabe lola. Tanji semzame lola. Tambo mambo semje lang. Chala juba semje lang dene yoba. Tene umebe lola tene ko tomba lang beka bon jorwa ta yala tomba lang soba dhaman dhoye de wala lebu de nisa che ware. Tene semje ngoy se che lang yondu ne lame tene kaso mamba da juba ne tuzo chigla tene lang dogre ne langken yang tuzo chigla lang ere tene tobe yang top gu yore. Tene top sawu chala tat al jorwa dang cheji chawa dun do chikbare ngoshi chikbote tsmendawa yure tadi o rambashin de lebudu
The Kareli Mijava, Sampa Mijava, Yana, Karedan Mijava.
sem zamba dang umaba tana chedang tes mendawa rwa
Oh, yes.
sem zamba di munjuk
Las,
mamba khaga juba khaga umabe
las.
nyamdu langere ani ya lama le lange dang sozo lange tes mendawa yure
Oh, las.
mezer khabar chombo da kaya mare kinzo da wala lebgre
So the procedure of taking a vow, the ritual is explained in the following sections of the text. So we will learn how one has to engage in the preparation and then the actual vow itself. And what is important to understand is that there's a slight difference between so Madhyamika and Chittamatra mind only and the middle way school, so that in the middle way school, what happens is that both bodhicittas of aspiration and of action are taking simultaneously. They taking as one vow at once, and one receives both of these, vows of bodhicitta of aspiration and action. One obtains them again at once. And also the difference is whether one absolutely has to receive it from a master or from a teacher or by oneself.
ade der tomba rangni je langwo chul jurngwe che sumle ta sozo je langgo yo na nangda je cho de hegi yin tan lang sozo je lang na re lamba lang na re do dan do do lang ngo shi ga zu che bur tes ma do chen mang che do re che la ya tes che bur jure chen ma shi che ba ra wa ta jorwa kari go gu du thangbo jorwa la sum pen je choba je ba chonju lewu thangbo tar cha sung du 다 당부 전주 가서 선제지 팬 잘 선제지 돈발 나와 이나 가서 영화 요즘에 저와 가르치나 팔절에 개월을 두르고 그래 당 가서 가르치나 세도서는 미스 꾸마캡 되네잖아 개월을 두르서는 라칼에 가보래 아니 르릉 르당 나니지 저와도 망쳐와지 선제지 돈발 휴여나 선제지 돈발은 무튼의 견장의 샘지 장제선다 만들래 대여나 겨우 유튜브래 다 찍래 니래 갈아가 보지로와 이나 예들라 때네 믹사여 말해 샘지 예디 도자 셔나 때모 원도 쇼 장제 샘지 지선여 근데 겨우 유르거래 람나 데데sana 용세고 하라 말해 독숨지 군의 랑산나 아니고 미개와 임베 찹사래 독숨다 만제바 근데 롱마든지 가서 산도 돈도 냠도 아케제셰 라소바 롱마든지 르사마네 개월로 두르고 보여래 장주 섬지 세선이나 아니 딱 개월권은 있는데 그 개월 이행가로와 아니 르가제 자와든조 팔절 아니 가서 장주 섬다 대만에 개월 두르고 보여래 지제 다 장주 섬다 대만 가서 섬지죠 돈발랑 섬지 무드는 냠는지는 강사지는 니냐와 이나라 다 갑갈랑 가서 남영쇼와 이나라 갑갈라더니 샘데 따다 매바이나야 꼭 계획이 균데 무드네 내주고 요래 개월 균데 무드네 펠주고 요래 어딘데 소는 것도
Kempala kirangi di sepadan, lungagi chava di sepadan, perna di chi zun mavadan di chatsang gyurtup gerepe. Dampo kirangi.
다데 제당 가르라고 인규데 장주섬지 돈바캅소 륜학이 내든죠 아니 개월로 유튜브에 손송고 요래 이나다디 콜롱당 내가블 따야다 자래 타직도 유튜브라마 데스카 칼레카 준당 미사야단도 칼레카 보인거래 나 지레 니레 오늘 섬지 제 춤보 섬바다디 페나 랑도 이체로 큐네 매버서 그러와 나랑 이체도 소소 이체도 소소제 삼로 자원이나 만져와 자제 캬 현나 팬도로 요겐 텐데 있나 아니 준 제바당 가르서 그래 Misa Badina Chebayina, any Kavala Gurtu Badina Yungre. Tadi Logudin Zoyer, Sangin Kavala, the Share Koga Brasigre.
Yeah. In a ditch, Khenpo di Chatsan Kirangi Sumpa di Penyungi Chopa Kepa Davara.
Changjusam Tensona, Kari Chena, that Rinpoche Sigidua, Changjusam Latena, Chije Kawa in Sigidua.
That's real. So there are 3 parts for taking a vow, which is preparation, main part, and conclusion. And whether we take a vow by ourselves, like alone in a room, or with a teacher, generally the procedure is almost the same, is almost identical. The preparation part is identical if we take it by ourselves or with a teacher. Conclusion is, but main part is slightly different, and we will see it later. So it's possible to rouse bodhicitta and kind of like take that vow by oneself. So let's look at the preparation, where it says that preparation has 3 parts. It's generating enthusiasm, and then the 7 branch practice, and the mind training. Sorry. So what is the generation of enthusiasm? Well, it's generate a sense of enthusiasm for the benefits of bodhicitta, as explained in the first chapter of the introduction to the way of the bodhisattva, which is the English translation of the title, of the Bodhicaryavatara. So we prepare by arousing joy in the benefits of bodhicitta, right? That's how we start. We need to learn about benefits of bodhicitta so that we feel enthusiasm and joy with regards to generating it and taking a vow. So what is there are multiple benefits of bodhicitta. Well, for example, one is that after having taken a vow of bodhicitta, any activity, and by any I will explain it, but almost any activity is turned into virtue. Whenever there is bodhicitta, whatever we do is wholesome. Anything that's done, said, or thought from within a mind state of bodhicitta is transformed into wholesome, or we can say virtue or constructive action. So we might think, well, what about killing, lying, stealing? Well, actually, when it comes to the actions of body and speech, yes, if our minds embrace by bodhicitta, and by that we mean there is no selfish agenda whatsoever, like not even a speck of any selfish motivation, but 100% pure wish to benefit others. If that is the mindset, then actions of body and speech, whatever they are, even if it's lying or maybe killing someone, if it's done purely from the bodhicitta's mindset, it's transformed into virtue. There are stories to illustrate that, and I think I will get some time later in the class to share with you a story to illustrate how even killing can be done for the sake of others and can be turned into virtue. So when it comes to body and speech, mind is a chief, and if mind is embraced, suffused by bodhicitta genuinely, not like but 100%, we mean 100%, then those actions are transformed into virtue. But when it comes to the mind, if our mind is at the state of anger or in desire, like attachment or ignorance, right, or arrogance or jealousy, that cannot be transformed into virtue, because bodhicitta will not coexist with those states of mind. So those disturbing emotions, those afflictive emotions, they cannot be transformed into virtue because they are by their nature are unwholesome. Now, whatever we do from the, we can say out of anger, attachment, stupidity, arrogance, is not going to be wholesome, no matter what, right? But neutral actions, it's where we really can claim them. When we have bodhicitta, we can bring them to the side of virtue. Like eating, walking, watching, talking, right? Like really something really neutral that we can really, transform and make them wholesome and virtuous. And that's the power of bodhicitta. Once we have taken a bodhicitta vow, it's automatically, even when we are distracted, when we're in deep sleep, or when our minds are messed up, maybe even when we're unconscious or something, actually, though, in those states, virtue is still continuously being accumulated because of the bodhicitta vow, even if we are distracted or, asleep or upset. So that's the power of bodhicitta. It has the power to transform our activities of body and speech into virtue, and neutral mind states into virtue. So
근데 나신도 근데 장주쌤데 냠는 야보제 낭된 강사이나 대화 동알 라소바 기도 강리라 양 남도 쳐도 그래 근데 미 도보 라소바 미 망보 예비 값서 양 장주쌤 야보 냠는 책인데 강사들 창마님도 통보 전에 대투바 미 매바 찍고 레당 다 강마당 가월 하고 있나 근데 쌤나 강에 가에 매바 냠는 강나 도토바 아니 다코랑
Gonta,
가리
care canel mepa kampo.
님 소바냠도 매바 소저 찍고 학도 맨
Oh,
레강라 학바 이나다 소저
nas.
강만나라 학바 이나다 강게 여마라 가서 거 냠는 강라 도토버와 장주섬디 계도 레nye 조좀모 라소마 냠도 가도 이나양 로바 안게 당보데 장주지 섬차게 유래 나서
Another benefit of bodhicitta is that when we have aroused bodhicitta, once we have taken bodhicitta vow, whatever befalls us in our lives, any kind of pain or misery or happiness and joy, everything can be transformed into the path. Everything can be taken onto a path to enlightenment. When we have bodhicitta, it doesn't matter if it's suffering or happiness that we experience, it becomes our practice. Also, when we have bodhicitta, we get along with everyone just fine. Wherever we are amidst people, we are friend to everyone. But when we're alone, we are just as fine. We can be alone in the cave in the mountains, we can be alone in our own house, and we don't feel like we lack anything. We have bodhicitta, and so we have that practice with us. But when we're with people, we're also happy, we get along. So we actually, with bodhicitta, we are fine anywhere and in any circumstances.
네, 다 나신도 장주지 쌤데 개와 탐진하는 뇌바 체쇼 작유래 남긴 아주 가르서 그래 상계 동자 망보라 아니 그런 메제 강보 아니 쳐바풀네 대바이나 소놈 가져요래서 되잖아 소놈 참여 버와 딜레게 장주지 쌤데 깨직직 삼지게와이나 딜레장 소놈 샤라기 짜샤와 자규르기니 뇌바체요래 그러는데 데네 송고요래 다케지 직 잠주 데네 지 소놈 쳐와요 바이나 균도 장주섬 냠는 전에 되게는 소놈 가져쳐요 그래 근데 산제 고방 토베 델람고 쪼데 장주 예선 들어와
Also, bodhicitta is said to be the most powerful among all different virtuous activities. It is said in the text that if we make offerings to Buddha, to enlightened ones, for thousands of years, we will gather countless merit, countless goodness. And yet, if we generate bodhicitta just for one instant, merit will exceed even all the merit that we have gathered from making offerings to all the Buddhas for thousands of years. One instant of genuine bodhicitta, it surpasses all the goodness accumulated from other virtues, whatever the virtue deeds are of making offerings, circumambulation, whatever it is. Bodhicitta is said to be the most potent, the most powerful among all the different virtues, activities.
데네 아주 미가지 kunjo somla choba puyela gaushu yuguyere. Da choba tamjen nane arab chodu gyobadi ni changju semdi chaguyere. Dili labe kunjo somla choba puya yomare. Dili ngajo kalba thongmine tanda tegba megewa mangbo che dinzo tegba shakugudu gongda togdesana mangbo shu yungure. Changju ki semdi labe tegba shayaji tabji shenbaji yomare. 아니 딱 개와 손남 싸고도 서거래 손남 싸였네 장주섬 인생의 쉬사와라 제도 장주섬데 강제 통의 양다 안게 당보도 차거래 걔도 견도 장주섬 냠는 제대로 요바이나 미디 손남 싸야다 대과 다야다 아니 저바 부야다 근데 상마다 야쇼도 차거요 봐 인도 니 견도 냠는 나도나 야고요래
And some people naturally inclined to making offerings to the Buddhas. They like this practice. Well, actually, among all the different offerings that we can present the Buddhas with, generating bodhicitta is the best offering, right? It will please all the Buddhas far better than making offerings of flowers and water and fruits, right? The instant of bodhicitta is the best type of offering right there. Also, we, in order to engage in the path, we need to purify our non-virtuous deeds and negative states. Our negativity is accumulated in the past, so we need to confess, we need to purify all the, all the negativities, all the misdeeds and faults. And bodhicitta is also the best method. When we generate bodhicitta, it purifies our mind stream from all the previously accumulated negativity and misdeeds. It has that power to purify our minds. Also, it's said in the path we need to accumulate merit, goodness, and there are so many different practices dedicated to accumulation of merit, but the best one is that of bodhicitta. When we generate bodhicitta, that provides us with all the merit we need right there. So in this way, we can see that practice of bodhicitta takes care of offerings, of purification, of accumulation of merit, right? All the important practices on the Buddhist path, right? They all taken care of just by practicing bodhicitta.
근데 인상 이 장주게 생견도 냠는 제겐 냠는 여보 여간 미든도 또 용도 미상마 데토바나 생기보 차야도나 베디도 여바 아니 되네 용거래 현 미도나 되네 때스 미데와도나 공도랑간도 가메가 용거로와 장주섬 냠는 제겐 미 도소나 되네셔라 용거 말해 남준 미들라 가게 메나양 눈날레빈데 라신 이제 가와찌게래 그래서 코스름데 닝제나 장주섬 네바 요도 네 그래서 그래 되네지 용거래 고랑섬 가나 히와 수질란 다사가 말와 수질란 삼방 녀바 요 말와 대토 용도 대지 네발라 되네 예인 참마양 섬기보 차도나 가와 차되네지 용거래
And then miga ken ti jeju sempala miga ken labna konyan
그랬나 저랑 장주섬 냠는 책이 뭐지 미직다 안내서는 야부민도 지지니 남중 가게요 말 저랑 담로 토용도 다가 섬기고 차용 그래 당신 가와제 용 그래 가서 거기 섬기 뇌바지 전에
A practitioner of bodhicitta is happy, gets along with everyone, but not only that, that person makes everyone else also happy and get along. Through the power of one's open heart, compassion, and kindness, everyone around this person becomes more at ease, more happy, more kind. Even if someone is like disturbed and doesn't like, maybe someone doesn't like the person who practices bodhicitta, but then actually they can't help themselves when they are in the presence of this person who is a practitioner of bodhicitta, because that practitioner doesn't have any bad thoughts about anyone. It's like it's hard to keep being angry at the person or dislike him or her, right? Like it's because they're so kind, so compassionate. It's like anger of other people just falls apart. they can't help themselves but to feel also more happy, more cheerful. This is the power of bodhicitta. It makes everyone around also be in much more harmonious state.
So then 다 장주지 셈리 예와든지 뭐뭐 셈제나 주바 셈제 니로지 랩송아 디니나란도 도라 양 예와 예출 현냐 요래 군접 셈제 세근제나 도남 셈제 세근제 니 요래 네 다 된지 셰죠 뭐뭐 셈제 주바 셈제 조 망내가 삼로 당내 쇼청보 제야 남도나 제베도네 나조 셈제 냠는 줘야 요바이나 대상마 가르쳐거려서 되잖아 군접 셈제서 그래 담 삼로 매바 남도나 잘와 야 삼로 메시지 니코바다 톰돔 잡아라 세기 말에 그런기 가서 셔럽지 보내 다음에 또 셔럽지 찌sim비 돈에 아니 양 셈제 냠는 자 연구로와 디디는 민맥이 셔럽스 그래 나 돈담 셈제야서 그래 어떤지 이름도 요래 돈담 셈제데 강서 레당보베 드링산지 남산 냠슬랑 조조된데 연구 말에 때 장마 여보 태비절라 연구래 안게 당장 돈담 셈제다 쥐나 마다 안게 당보데 사 당보 토바 연제지 장주 선발 아마도 소소기we 장주 선발라 요 말에 군조 셈제데 소소기we 장주 선발 조냠는 제거로와 아니 살란데 장주 선발 남게 제도 값은 냠는 안 그래 돈담 셈제데 소소기we 콜라 보다 가서 그래 제둔 다와다와지 냠는 제고 그래 제 고거를 제기 요래 동반이 보면서 간다다 다음에 보면서 간다다 용 망고 중고도 된저 제디 돈남 셈제래 그 제둔 잠제차 그래 맞소
Janju Sempa Sala Shukpa Janju Sempa Krasa
돈남 셈제 대
Shovadi.
천이 당 템바 원내 쥐나 마다바데 아니 사 당부터바 내송데 냠는 당토고 요래 아니
In a
건조 제도블라
Nyamshad stop.
냠샤 갑소래 다
Last.
제도가블라 은 콩남베 가서 그래 건조 셈제 양 냠는 당 그래 소소 계획 소 건조 셈제래 냠샤 갑소 돈남 셈제 냠는 제거래데 문에 차가 말아 그 제도는래 다와 셈제래
So we have seen one division of bodhicitta right here in our text, the division of bodhicitta of aspiration and action.
맞아
But there is also another division of bodhicitta, not only into aspiration and action, but another one. We have relative bodhicitta and ultimate bodhicitta. So division of bodhicitta into being relative or ultimate, and how to understand that. So relative bodhicitta is conceptual practice. Whenever we practice bodhicitta, but within a conceptual frame of mind, that will be relative bodhicitta. Whenever we practice bodhicitta, but there is no any conceptual constructs, right, or any kind of mental elaborations, that will be ultimate. And by no concepts, we don't mean like, oh, one is in a completely oblivion state of mind, like shut down, right, and no concepts, like stupefied state. This is not what is meant by no concepts. Wisdom, wakefulness is still present. But that wakefulness is not conceptual. It's the wisdom that realizes lack of truly existent self. And that wisdom realizes selflessness, but it doesn't have any reference point because, well, it realizes selflessness. So it doesn't have any reference to focus on, right? So it's a completely wide open state of wakefulness, which is non-conceptual, but it's there, it's present, and that is ultimate bodhicitta. It doesn't come about for beginners. At first, we don't really engage or we don't really abide in this non-conceptual wakefulness, right? It comes later once we practice along the path and we develop that. So actually, how, in terms of the, let's say, from that point onwards in our path, do we generate ultimate bodhicitta? We talk about bodhisattva grounds, bodhisattva levels. And there are 10 bodhisattva levels. In Sanskrit, they're known as bhumi. So like a bodhisattva levels. And it is from the first bodhisattva level or ground onwards that the ultimate bodhicitta is practiced by those bodhisattvas during the meditative equipoise. When they arise from meditative equipoise in post-meditation, in activities that pertain to post-meditation, kind of like ensuing attainment, then bodhisattvas still engage in relative bodhicitta. But in their meditative equipoise, they are in that state of non-conceptual wakefulness, where everyone who is not on the bodhisattva levels yet, and we speak of the bodhisattva level starts from moment of genuine realization of emptiness, like a direct realization of emptiness. So anyone who has not realized emptiness directly, right, is an ordinary person. So they are not bodhisattva on the bhumi. And such ordinary people, what they have is relative bodhicitta. But it doesn't mean that they don't try to practice ultimate bodhicitta at all. Actually, what we say, we call it like approximation. They do practice ultimate bodhicitta, ordinary people who have not realized emptiness directly, but their practice is not a genuine one. It's not like you really directly realize emptiness, but you still can meditate on emptiness. You can study about it. You can reflect on it, right? You can try to put it into practice, meditate on selflessness, but that practice is still within a conceptual frame of mind, but it's really brings you very close to the real thing, and that's why we call it approximation. It's still really good. It's just not the real thing, but it's really close. And so that's where ordinary people are. What they have is relative bodhicitta, and they have approximate practice of ultimate bodhicitta. They're not there yet, but they kind of training themselves to realize emptiness. Where those who have realized emptiness directly, they become bodhisattvas, right? That's where we start counting the grounds, the bodhisattva bhumis. And from bodhisattva bhumis onwards, during their meditative absorption, they are in the state of ultimate bodhicitta. But during post-meditation, they still engage in conceptual activities, so they still have relative bodhicitta. So that's how we can also distinguish between these two.
아니 다가 나신도 양샘지지 야와 히 지여래 네 소소케 소람당 다제당 가서 람가서는지 여부로 소람 jorlam tonlam kumlam meloblam chebe lamga yore 다 소람 당 jorlam 소소케 기가 le 당보 be 아니 저 냠는 제 조건 된조라 소람서 그래 다 콜 촌이 유던들 명화가로 질렙살나 jorlam서 그래 아니 전에다 뭐 원좀도 줄게 배가서 통람서 그래. 근데 대균 무튼에 장 조간들라 네 검람서 그러와. 다 상제비 값은 멜레번람. 된저 이제 나 코랑라 땅나 코랑 섬제레레레 지가르체나 섬제나 섬제와체나데 그래. 양 시즈 연도잖아. 소소티오 소람단 전람니 이제 내가 비 섬제들라. 매베체 비 섬제서 그래. 매바 가야서나 던지 휴지 돈남 섬제데 르 마바지 군의 조치와 공거를 마도바 원숨 기군의 용토비어 말해 제는 영화들 레벨로 졸람 kopsu ina 원숨도 영화래요 말해 고 딱당 참도지 마도 오늘 영화들 말해 어디는 매베집에 섬제 쓰고도 아니 다 사당보 춘이다 뭐 원숨 통선만면도 통남 예시 교력에 배갑수 아니 대락가서 학섬 더 섬제 쓰그래 라존 더베스인데 가르치는서 뒤잖아. 다 소소케와 갑조테는 동네당 전역에 던던들 칼라마고 잡 아니 칼에 잡잡잡 제일 용도잖아. 아니 데려가서 문에 장에 장지 있으면 용도 보여래. 용용도 소 남전지 버티 쳐 탐정은 밀람단 주마다 원신 대바 주바 가야매 봐. 섬기 나와서면 오늘 용용도 되는 저루로 섬전 된서 상에 디도 이나양 히로 맞아 하고로 맞은 맞아버든들 인제 랑심해 봐. 무슨 현다 면다 남준다 면다위 ngam shuku yingje chambu je ke yingur ne laksam ngar le jang bet tat kazore gyagyo tongjo ju shu cheru jogo yosang laksam tabe semje segire ani tadi sa thongnam ne peche thongnam chigbo lamna resa mare te thongnam ne mada sa thunbar do lamna tawda re ro sa thongnam sa thon tangba ne sonde gomlam je sa thunba mada sa thunbar do ani laksam tabe semje 다 학습도 besam je tede kapsu ya samjin je dodon dang jawat ne nang kapsu beba no solwa kan kansam shuk shuman nang gogre ta sa keb de jala sa keba koba chuba to bindu sana number mi besam je segere ko chendon dodon da tenle den zo nang gogu yana bezol shuk shum to gogu mar ko tingen jin je top sam je da to ju kongba sheba sam je ne le la u to no juk to gu yere o tende jun ane la number mi besam je segere 다 대절라 타마들라 드립군 방을 섬제 산지께서라 던 견 탐제세 연내 탐제 톱사와 인자 제바 탐제나 잘로선 드립군 방을 섬제 어딘데 여양 시제나 리고도 된제 람가 코랑 섬제 레레레레 샤보이나 나 제와이나 디그레스
Дампади мён песем кера.
뭐베 쮸비스게 뭐바
Yeah.
뭐바스 그러와 뭐바 쮸비스게 뭐베 쮸바스 그러와 뭐바 지고는 쮸비스게 ane laksam tabi samje number member samje trigun pang samje
Lopan da Karina dish gigen shanda lopan da na Khenpo the dampo di me pechope semke di da chik
chuni ji donde moeba thona chogo yore
okay
nazo moeba ngonsum ni nyong yo mare
less okay let's try There is other division of bodhicitta. It's five, we can say five bodhicittas that are related to the five paths. So now we have spoken about the 10 bodhisattva grounds. Yeah, there are 10 of those that lead to enlightenment. Like the 11th bodhisattva ground is Buddhahood. And 10 bodhisattva grounds also, related to we also have 5 paths. So now going to be a presentation of the 5 paths and how we have also bodhicitta related to the 5 paths. So what are the 5 paths? Right? In the Mahāyāna, we talk about the path of accumulation. That's the first one. Then we have the path of joining. And we have the path of seeing, the path of cultivation, and the path of normal learning. How to understand those? Well, the first 2 paths of the path of accumulation and the path of joining, that's the 2 paths that precede the bodhisattva grounds. So if we connect the 10 bodhisattva grounds and the 5 paths, so the 2 paths, they kind of fall below the bodhisattva grounds. That's where ordinary people who still train to see suchness, to see how things truly are, but they haven't had the direct insight into it, right? They're just on the path of accumulating merit, preparing themselves. What happens afterwards is that when they directly see suchness, the true nature of reality, they are on the path of seeing, and that corresponds to the first bodhisattva ground. So the path of seeing is where they directly see the true nature of reality, and that's the first bodhisattva ground. From there, we have the 10 bodhisattva grounds, yeah? And those 10 bodhisattva grounds correspond to the 4th path, the path of cultivation. The more you cultivate your inside, you proceed from one ground to another, and that all belongs to the 4th path of cultivation. And the 5th path is basically not a path anymore. It's path of normal learning. That's Buddhahood. that corresponds to the 11th bodhisattva ground. It's already full enlightenment. So we have these 5 paths, and we also train in bodhicitta, while moving along these 5 paths. So in the first 2 of path of accumulation and joining, what we have in terms of our bodhicitta practice is a bodhicitta of devoted conduct. It's a name of bodhicitta. What it means is that we don't have insight into emptiness, into suchness yet, but we are devoted, we have interest, because myopa can be translated in 10 different ways. It's kind of this enthusiastic interest with regards to something. So it's a conduct of interest, and we can maybe better than devoted, but that's a standard translation usually. But to make it kind of easy to understand, it's where we have interest to practice, to understand suchness, and so we develop this bodhicitta of devoted conduct, but we haven't really experienced it yet. So we kind of have all the concepts, we train on them, we try to understand it, reflect on it. And when we experience a bodhicitta in a more direct sense, like we have a taste of it, like real taste, that's when we kind of move to the second type of bodhicitta, which is the bodhicitta that pertains to the path of seeing. So now we directly see suchness, we have that experience, we have that taste. And that bodhicitta known as bodhicitta of completely pure intent, superior pure intent. So, for example, how to understand that one? Well, before we only had all these conceptual ideas, right? We trained ourselves, but now we had direct experience. And when we have direct experience of how things truly are, that's the path of seeing, right? The first ground. We look around and we see that everything is like a dream. It's like an illusion. Everything is a projection of our own mind. And then we see beings struggle, believing, solidifying, right? Refining their experience, refining their existence, and suffering thereby. And because we had insight into, we had this taste of how things truly are, we look at beings and we have compassion that is far superior to the one we had before. Before we had this kind of conceptual idea and we had, oh yes, I feel compassion. But this one, once we had experienced how things truly are, that compassion is so much more pure, so more like, exalted, right, compared to our usual compassion, while we still operate within this dualistic mind frame. So that is the bodhicitta the second type of bodhicitta, the one that belongs to the third path, right? Because first bodhicitta, it kind of encompasses the first 2 paths. We train in the first 2 paths and we have this devoted conduct. But then once we have experience and we are on the path of seeing, the first bodhisattva ground, we have this bodhicitta that's known as pure and superior one. So what happens afterwards? This bodhicitta is the one that Khenpo dinamdak tak pesemke di ton kresa dampone sa dumpa bardura. And this kind of bodhicitta is with us from the first ground, bodhisattva ground, to the 7th. So now we're moving to the 4th path, which is cultivation. And the path of cultivation unfolds from the 2nd ground to the 10th, right? Because the first ground belongs to the path of seeing. That's when we had insight. I might make a handout for everyone to put it all together. But anyway, so just still have to translate it. So the path of seeing, right? The 3rd path, it's the first ground. And then the path of cultivation, it's all the remaining grounds from the 2nd to the 10th. And there we separate, from the, bodhisattva grounds up to the 7th, and we call them impure bodhisattva grounds. And then we have the 8, 9, and 10, and they are really pure bodhisattva grounds when you're really close to enlightenment. And so this second type of bodhicitta, the completely pure, superior intent, lasts from the first ground to the seventh, and we still train and train ourselves. But what happens in the 8, 9, and 10, it's a third type of bodhicitta. It's the ripened bodhicitta. And the difference here between the second and the third is that the pure superior intent still requires some effort. We still have some effort there. It's not effortless. We have seen the true nature of reality, but it's still effortful. When we are on the 8, 9, and 10 bodhisattva ground, it's effortless. We actually don't even do anything anymore. We are in meditative absorption, in meditative equipoise. And when we rest in that state effortlessly, bodhicitta already affects others. It unfolds without us doing things, right? It's the power of, that pure meditative absorption of the higher bodhisattva ground. So on the 8, 9, and 10 bodhisattva ground, it's a ripened bodhicitta, and it's effortless. It's done, it kind of unfolds through meditation. And then once we move to the 5th path of normal learning, which is Buddhahood, or the 11th bhumi, 11th ground, we have the 4th type of bodhicitta, of completely purified bodhicitta. That's bodhicitta for Buddha. It's bodhicitta that is completely free of all obscurations, all fixations, all reference points, that is bodhicitta for Buddha. So in this way, we can see how the process from being an ordinary person, then being a bodhisattva on the ground, then being a Buddha, for all of those, 5 paths and the 10 grounds, we also have bodhicitta. In this way, actually, there are 4. I think I said 5, but I can see only 4 that Khenpo mentioned. The bodhicitta of devoted conduct that happens on the first 2 paths. Then we have the superior pure intent of bodhicitta that happens on the 3rd path and the 4th path, up to the 7th ground. And then on the last 3 grounds, we have the ripened bodhicitta. And on the 5th path, we have the fully purified bodhicitta. So that's how it also happens in the process of becoming a Buddha. Yeah, we stop here. And I will make a handout. I will put all the grounds, 5 paths and 4 bodhicittas, and make it all correspond, to each other. Because it's very hard to understand it from just hearing, I think. So do you have any questions? You can unmute yourself or you can type. Okay, yeah, I can see someone. A hand, Stephanie.
So my question for the Khenpo is, can he has used many times, and so have other teachers, the term dualistic and non-dualistic. And I wonder if there is a way to explain these two in other language without using the term dualistic and non-dualistic, but explain them sort of in layman's terms.
Yeah, I think it's actually on me because I translated. Yeah, let's see. Khenpo na so Shedrub kapsu the chik nan nidzin yore, ra nidzin yore Shedrub. The nidzin ditsik pichi chedu na hakwe kalikak pudu. Oh yeah, on nidzin mepa Shedrub mepa de nidzin yomare. The tsik shenda pichi chena na so teds goval. Lelava da chik kova lying the tets lelava tsik yona chik sunrunan onan di Shedrub di nidzin yore Shedrub mena nidzin di mena da yona di kanjes hakogore
namdok meba haku tsangma shengera hakogore inen dela namdok yagdu je namdok tamada ni kasore meba taron kale kharu toyera chigena.
Yeah, maybe it's so to answer Stefania's question, non-dualistic means that we do the beings who have that non-dualistic perception, they still perceive everything, but without having any concepts, without having any mental constructs about any phenomena or any experiences whatsoever, without forming ideas like this is good, this is bad. this is long, this is short, but yet they still experience. They real, like, you know, they're not shut down. They open, but without forming concepts. And then Khenpo said, perhaps I made it only more difficult for you. He will say,
that's
yeah.
dire 원내 장내 셔봐 원내 장내 최지 내로 셔봐 Shedrub 매바세도 원내 장내 최지 내로 하고 와 돈남 때마 셔봐 어디래 동반이 셔봐
It's non-dual. Нидзин мепа ди щепа дачик хакова.
이전 매바세도 원내 장내 내로 하고 와래
So non-dualistic here refers to the subject. First of all, we don't talk about objective. It's about subjective experience. And this is the experience of someone who sees, or we can say realizes, or we can say understands. Khenpo used all different words, verbs. So it's someone who realizes, sees, conceives of everything as it truly is. And by that, in Buddhism, we mean as being shunyata, or emptiness. That's the ultimate truth, ultimate mode of reality. So someone who realizes ultimate mode and sees it and experiences it operates from this non-dual state. I also see Eleanor, so just to, Stephanie, was it something more? Or?
Yes, there was just a slight little bit more. Thank you, Khenpo. I think that does help because I've often heard those words and felt that they were oppositional, like black and white, right and wrong, and that was duality. So when you say that non-dualistic is not that, but more related to simply not having concept, that helps me begin to get closer to understanding. So thank you.
Yeah, Gova Yapu Junsong, Mamadina, Tsigdi, Kapsuna di Chik, Dachik Gotomsong, Hakumason, di Chik, Nakpodan, Karponanshin, DJ Chik, Ninan Yopa, Ninan Mepa, Denedanda di Kempogida, Namto Kayan Mepa, Sumpi Kapsuna, Tet, Selpo Hak, Dachik Selpo Malta, Tet, Selva, Chak Hakuson. Eleanor, you had a question?
Yes, a little bit like Stephanie, some words that I've been trying to understand. The word, and maybe it's a translator question, and maybe it's a Khenpo question, maybe it's both. But the word in Tibetan to generate, we talk about generate compassion. And then I also have heard engender compassion.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, are those, it's the same word in Tibetan with two English words, or
exactly.
there are two different words in Tibetan with two different meanings?
Yeah, it is the same. Well, this is, I have to answer, but then I can ask Khenpo to explain the word. But I can tell you it's a one word in Tibetan. But we just get a bit creative if we just always say the same word. I guess English is so rich with synonyms. It's to, and I can tell you even more. The text here says arouse, bodhichitta. It's the same word. It's arouse, it's generate, it's produce, it's engender. People use all sorts of words to, but I can. The kepa, sem kepa, ra, kempala kepa di tsigdi ra, kegore. Natsu injike the tsig, that's mampu yore. To arouse, to generate, produce, the Khenpo injike, then that's done the Jangyo Sarera, Yapojungi. Then the don't the chick for repairs na injitsik di don't the nandi the chick bingin am drang res the chick shupain. Inayan kepadi, chichana Khenpogi. That's selpo sumpaina kepa gets don't the.
인지적 낭변에서 개버든 내 하고 무슨
Yeah. In Kepagi, some
세두잖아 당부 매발라 아주 샘진 당부는 샘데 장주기 샘데 아주 귤라 요 말에 매바데는 아주 배졸 제네 수고로 와 매주전에 매반은 여바 pelbogore pelwana chabana jachuro tangwadang meba yobisobi tondala keba sigre.
So in Tibetan, the word itself is kepa, and because some people ask me to also mention it's bao sakata ka yata kya jambo keda ke, so for Sophia. So kepa means to bring to existence something that was not previously existent. So which requires effort. It was not that we don't have at first, before we engage in the path, we don't have bodhichitta with us. So then we learn about it, we put forth some effort, and we bring it to existence. And not only that, we also make it increase. So it also covers the meaning of after it's having been born or brought into existence, after it's been generated, we also make it, grow more. Like in gender also, we bring it to existence and we make it grow further and further more. So it's all of those meanings.
Spasiba.
I'm seeing some question. Okay, just to confirm, we are at this kind of bodhicitta line, or is it within our own mind, or generate enthusiasm in a general? Okay, so the question is where we have reached in the text, and we reached, so on page 2 of English translation, it says that there are 3 stages to taking the Bodhisattva vow: preparation, main part, and conclusion. And then, preparation has 3 subcategories. And Khenpo comment on generating enthusiasm, where it says, generate a sense of enthusiasm for the benefits of bodhicitta as explained in the first chapter of the text. Yeah. And then comes the verses that come from the Bodhicaryavatara that Khenpo didn't read them, so we will skip them, but they are there for you to see the root text. And he just commented in general, he summarized what are the benefits of bodhicitta, which I explained in these verses that you should read by yourself at home, so that next time we will just start after the verses. So we stopped on page 2, right, where just before the verses are. I hope that helped. Is that the question? Mm-hmm. Then the check to Soyan Zokundu, Chiva Mena. So then we will dedicate the merit at the end of class. So,
Sonam damje zeba tomne nebe jana damje kega naje bala joba sebe zole rowa rashu chanjo semjo remboch Mage banam ke gyurji ke ba nyamba me ba kone kondo belwara shu